Alrighty, round two. Looks like our opponent's mulliganing, and our hand is the slowest ever. We're gonna try keeping. I think if my opponent had kept his 7, I might have mulliganed, but we might just need to hope and pray that this hand is good enough, and it looks like it is. Well, alright, let's keep those. This is really strange because, like I say, this deck isn't particularly good, and my decks in Dallas were very good, I felt, and they were decided in very gruesome and fast fashions, which is why I'm not wanting to keep Read the Bones, JMA'd Tomb on the draw, but sometimes your opponents are going to mulligan and play a land. Alright, he hit 3 at least. 3 lands. Let's see. Could Massacre and Renown our guy. I think I like attacking, because if he double blocks while in Holy Hunger, and if he doesn't block, then we can potentially Eyeblight's Massacre afterwards and then get the full 3 in. Alright, looks like he's going for it, and losing both his guys. Turns out having a bunch of removal is good when you also have a board presence, since your opponent missed all his land drops. Alright. Ultimate Endgame activate. How is this card even beatable right now? Woo. A rock falls on the jailer's head. Well, I mean, the deck's doing what it was designed to do. Win with a bunch of removal and slowly drawing cards. Not gonna lie, it helps when it takes your opponent a billion turns to start playing Magic. Okay. Well, that is not what I expected. I suppose that makes sense though, since meteorite isn't that great unless you're splashing. I think I'm probably just gonna unholy hunger because the suppression bonds are more mana efficient later on. I guess we could actually suppression bonds the meteorite. Okay, that's not going to end well. And we even have spell mastery. We are masters of our domain. It's pretty hard to imagine losing from this point. You would have to basically play Sphinx's tutelage right now off of this meteorite. And somehow I'm thinking that's unlikely. Ooh. Okay. The grasp is not a scary card at this moment, though. Let's just draw. Then spawns that. Alright, let's see. So far, this has been a 12 mana divination. Let's see if we can get up to Jace's ingenuity next. "16 mana ingenuity." Gonna deck ourselves here. Let's go for suppression bonds. I can't think of much that punishes us for laying down 2 suppression bonds. Rather have the unholy hunger. We're gonna need to hit a lot of lands in a row and him to hit a lot of not lands in a row to beat this. Personal Howling Mine. I think I'll just continue to hold on to the Eyeblight Assassins. See if he plays anything. Anointment. Alright, let's play them. Or play one. Let's just play one for now. I probably should have last turn, to be honest. Or perhaps even this one whenever I had a chance. Since it's hard to imagine losing too much, though. I suppose decking is actually the biggest threat. Alright, and run that out. Tragic Arrogance would be a good card for our opponent to play. Actually, a very good card. Would very much blow us out of the water. Should cut this up just in case. Right. We might actually be in stop drawing cards mode now that we're down to 11 cards. If you did go a bunch of running undead servants, we might be in trouble. I suppose we do have this for that. So. I don't think I can resist drawing one more card. Surely we won't deck. Tragic Arrogance. I suppose if he does Tragic Arrogance us, we would be more likely to deck. So let's just not, since that's probably the card we should be playing around at this point. Not playing more creatures into it. And then not having enough resources to close out the game with like a Catacomb Slug. A Catacomb Slug on the bottom of the library. Alright, and we are back. Our opponent reconnected. So where were we? Ah yes, we were not drawing cards off of this. It's done its duty. Frontline infantry. Should probably be leaving this back and just pumping. Actually, no, it's probably slightly better to be just attacking, since he could cast a removal spell on our 2/2s. Alright, slug time. Might not be slug time. Nope. Our opponent didn't even get to join the slug club. The tome was just too strong. Alright, we actually have cards to bring in. Potentially even multiple cards. This blows up our opponent's suppression bond. Zzz. What are we siding out? Perhaps this. Eyeblight Massacre doesn't seem very good against him, but I think we still want it on the draw. I think I prefer like a slug to the jailer. Jailer is really not all that impressive. Especially when we want to be using all our mana to draw cards with Tome. What do we got? Oh. This is fairly unappealing. If one of these were a swamp, it would be a snap keep, certainly. I think we're gonna run it. This match seems slow. And just having these lands gives us time, since we're for sure able to cast suppression bonds. Eyeblight Massacre is like not what we're looking for, although could be good if we see those coveted swamps. Thank God his 2-drop doesn't have Renown. Oh boy. Well, at least we can get that. It has a pretty fast start, but Suppression Bonds is a fairly good card. That's great, because it dies to Eyeblight Massacre. Could definitely have played a worse 4-drop. Although I suppose I can complain that he played a 4-drop at all. If we need something to complain about. Get that out of there. It's a great card for this matchup. We're definitely just going to chump here, since the Anointer has served its purpose. And we'll just get swept up in the Massacre that we hope to unleash. That we'll basically need to unleash. Or maybe not. Let's attempt to Reave Soul. He could have had Enshrouding Mist to save it, so suppose re-souling the cleric would be a consideration, but I think that's just fine. Since if he did enshroud and missed it, we could just block with the knight. Alright. This is the perfect time to be drawing cards when we're on 9 life. So could have suppression bonds that, but I think we need to get value from this Eye Blight Massacre. Let's just go ahead and do this. We actually have potentially 2 removal spells for his next big things. So we don't want to die to a 2/2. Well. That would be a good time for a swamp. There's that splash somber wall coming into play again. Actually could have chumped, since it doesn't give it trample unless he has a green. Okay. So the chump would have actually worked out. Although, I think it's fine not to, I suppose. Alright, the old 2 for 2. Or 3 for 3 if you count the suppression bonds, dude. And now things are looking great. Our Unholy Hunger has spell mastery. We have the tome. We have 2 removal spells, and our opponent has 2 cards. So, actually looking good. Assuming nothing bad happens. The Cruel Revival is a consideration. Definitely a way he can come back. Just do this to try and be more mana efficient with our tome. Alright. Go with our own ghoul. He actually can't Cruel Revival a zombie, so we do have a little bit of insurance there, and that's actually not a bad draw either. We are getting low though. Oh, speak of the life gain. Again, I don't recommend this strategy, even though it sort of looks like it's working here. It's possible this is just something that can work. I mean, it definitely can work. Our deck isn't a very good example of a control deck, but Tome is doing some good work. And we certainly have a bunch of good removal spells, which is really, really important. And not something you usually end up getting in this format. Could have heavy infantry, I suppose. So we have 10 mana available. Probably want to assassin. Let's actually lay on a little pressure. Even Cruel Revival isn't that threatening at this point. Since we're outpacing that amount of value. Although we are low, I suppose. Languish. The old mass removal, eh? Not great in this matchup, that's for sure. This is probably one of the worst matchups for Languish. Languish otherwise completely devastating against the aggro decks, but we got a Kadra. Alright, so this might be Cruel Revival. He just didn't want to tap all his black mana. Yeah, it looks like it is, based on how long it's taking. Yep. Pro tip, don't removal it in response to that trigger. But pro tip, do Fiery Conclusion, sacrificing your undead servant with that on the stack, and you'll get a 2/2 out of the deal. We are once again running low on cards. We still haven't seen his suppression bonds, so that's a nice draw we have. Oh wait, we did see his suppression bonds, never mind. It just got swept up in the eye bites. So there we see, now we see his suppression bonds. So our cat monk gets to do work. It was on our knight and then got eye blitzed earlier. Completely forgot about that. By the way, this Angel's Tomb would have done approximately 33 damage or whatever this game. Not a bad card in this format, that's for sure. All's Flare in Love and War, in Love and Magic. So what do we actually have left in our deck? We're out of suppression bonds. I think we actually have 3 Unholy Hungers, so let's just go ahead and do that. want to close out the game quickly before we deck. Especially when we keep drawing all these delicious cards. Uh-oh. Down to 2 lands left, so good spell density. I don't think I'll be drawing it. Maybe I want to draw another card. This is actually good since we put our land to the bottom and we're going to close out the game faster with our relevant spells. A few blocks, we can do this. Alright, 4 cards. With a land on the bottom. Alright, just concedes. Slug. Always late to the party. Alright, well, it took nearly our entire deck and a lot of luck, but we're 2-0 so far, so let's see if we can't squeak across the finish line with a 3-0. Prediction is not likely.